Alright guys, y'all see the tweet, y'all know what we about to talk about, and if you don't, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a little bit of a disagree-agree video, but hey, I'm nappy. Like, share, subscribe. Got the webcam out, got the lights on the side. Let's get it started. Alright, so y'all see the title, y'all know the topic. Do fighting games actually die when devs stop supporting them, or can the community keep them alive? Let's answer this question. We have here Witchcraft, and she goes on and states, a fighting game doesn't die just because it doesn't get updates. It only dies if people stop playing it. A lot of FG players don't appreciate enough how a game can adapt and evolve over time without updates. Now, this is a very good point, and this is something that is common in the FGC. We have a lot of old school games, Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, even Infinite right now in Grand Blue, that sometimes it feels like the devs have given up on the game. Sometimes the devs literally have given up on the game and moved on to new things, but the communities themselves love to keep it alive and love to keep it breathing. So from her point of view, she's saying because of that, fighting games don't truly die. And I can see where she's coming from 100%. But then we got I look at his quotes. We got Mr. Sonic Soul. Now, Sonic Soul, right now, he has his own problems. I'm not going to speak on his own problems because he is his own man. I have no problems with Sonic Soul. I'm just speaking towards his tweets. So I want to give a disclaimer on that because I have no hate or ill will towards that man. Whatever y'all problems is with him is what y'all problems is with him. And he goes on to state, if I turn on the game, go into matchmaking and can't find anyone, the game is dead. Fuck talking about Discord. If you ain't about to add somebody that got the game muted, got the Discord muted, and it takes 3 hours for somebody to come back and say, no, I can't do that for you. That's the shorthand, because I literally get dyslexic reading this stuff. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Look, I stumble over words sometimes. Y'all hear it in the video. But he's basically saying back to her, tweeting to her, saying, I don't agree. You need support of that game. If it takes me 2-3 hours to get a match, if it takes me 10 to 20 minutes to get a match, is the game really alive? And why do I need to use Discord to even find matches in the first place? Now, we're gonna pause here because I have these charts, and these are the most popular games, and I use these, and I also have my Tekken one up right here, but I use these for a specific reason, even though my Tekken one didn't come out. Tekken's at like 4K. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now. I use these for a specific reason. We look at Strive, it's sitting about 2,000, over 2,000. Look at Street Fighter, it's almost 2,000. We looking at DBZ, we're looking at about borderline 1,500. Now, the average, just looking at what we have, the average player base of a healthy player base sits around 15 to 1,700, somewhere around there. That's just healthy, right? Battle for the Grid, game that just got a season 4 update, game that a lot of players are actually, if you go through Twitter, looking to play. Only has 19 players playing right now, 37 at peak, 363 all time. Now, this is not including PlayStation, because I do believe there's a bigger fan base on PlayStation for all these games. But just speaking on what we see right now, this game would be considered a dead game. However, the devs are still supporting it. It has a nice community. You can go on Discord and go fight that community. Even with the 19 players here, I'm pretty sure these 19 players are in lobbies. So you can go to the lobby system and play 19 players if you're trying to lab something. So it goes back to what is really dead. What's really a dead game, right? Now, let's look at it. Let's look at all this from a consumer point of view and look at all this from more so of a FGC point of view. I'm gonna make a point from both sides, right? Because like I said, I have no ill will towards anybody in this conversation. Both sides themselves do have points. A lot of people just don't like to agree with certain points, and it is what it is. You know, again, we're human. We don't have to agree with everything. First point, I'm gonna make it from Superwish side. Going back, we're looking at Power Rangers again. Looking at this dead game. People are looking at this dead game, and that's not the case. If this game was dead, the devs still wouldn't be putting this support into this game. This game wouldn't be getting a season 4. It wouldn't have a Discord to even start with, because when people don't support certain games, you don't create things around it. Now, there might be small subsets of community that are built around this game, but every FGC game has that. Every FGC has the game, its overall community, and then the small communities within the communities. So you don't just have to go to the Power Rangers Battle for the Grid Discord. There could be other Discords for this game that are, we have these groups of people that are active, that play specific characters or can play every character in the game. They can be like, all right, I got what you need. This is what you want to do. This is the time I can play. Can you play at this time? Or, hey, I know I said 3 hours ago I couldn't play, but hey, I'm here now. You know, are you free? I think sometimes players in general, people that want to be up there at the highest of highs, forget that we broke. Like, we're broke as shit. I work at the post office. I don't get no money from this FGC shit. So it's not always going to be available. It's not always going to be readily available for you. You know what I'm saying? It's not, every pro player is not going to be able to just stop what they're doing to accommodate you. You know what I'm saying? So when people say games are dead because players are, you have to go to Discord to play a game, I don't agree with that. That should show how alive the game still is, because it's still breathing. It still has at least a little bit of life to where smaller groups of people still want to entertain and have fun in this game. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is a prime example. If you go into that Discord, there's still a lot of people playing that game. Yeah, some might be on mute, but again, people are working, people have children, people are doing everyday live things. So it's not always available, but once they are, then probably the best matches you can get, because those are people that are dedicated to the game. They only usually play that game, and they can show you stuff that you probably never seen before. So from that point of view, from Super's point of view, I 100% agree with her. But we gotta go to the Sonic Soul side, which I'll also see his point. Now, I don't 100% agree with his point like I do with Super Wish, but he does have points. A lot of people feel as though just because you're there, the game is thriving, and that is never a case. That is never the case. Let's look at Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and that is the game that blew me up. That is the game that started me off. Matter of fact, I'll B-roll right here. That is the game that I played for the longest on this channel. Now it's Strive. It's starting to become Strive. That game, player base has dwindled. It is pretty bad. Matter of fact, give me a sec. I'm gonna make a quick cut and I'm gonna show y'all what the player base is looking like real quick. The game has dwindled down. The game used to be thriving. Like this, it would have been at its peak. It would have been at the norm. It would have been a little bit under what the norm is for fighting games. But not to include Strive, the game has been dwindling down. Now, it is a case because of COVID. It also is a case because of the netcode. I cannot sit here and say that wasn't a huge problem of the game. I can't. You will be lying to yourself as a player. But 44 players isn't good sometimes. And I know for sure what Sonic Soul is talking about in this case, because sometimes you go to the Discord and sometimes it does take a minute to get a response from people. But yet again, I have to go back and understand people live their daily lives, people play other games, people are moved on to different fighters. But looking at a new player coming into the fighting game realm, let's say a new player loves DBZ Fighter, because right now DBZ Fighter and Strive are the two games that is pulling new players into the fighting game community. So if we're looking at this, if we're just bare bones looking at this, and a new player says, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, I want to try that out, and then he goes and he tries to play it, and maybe he plays it on a Tuesday where the lobbies are dead. He tries to find a match, and either his match is against a top tier master player where he's just getting demolished, or he tries to find people in his rank and nobody's in those rankings to play him. It's going to be discouraging for a new player to want to come into the game. Thus, now you're not bringing in new players to want to enjoy the experience that you had. So now the players that have been playing for a long time get tired and say, well, why am I even playing this, man? I'm about to go play Strive or go play Street Fighter 5 or DBZ, thus killing off the community. So it's a two-way street between two. Both points have pros and cons to it. They both do. However, it's both sides are kind of right. They're kind of right. Now, I want to give my overall opinions because I think my overall opinions put everything into perspective for some people. All right. So at the end of the day, do I agree with both points? Do I not agree with either? Do I only agree with one? I more lean towards Super her points. I do 100% based off of what her points were saying. Her points were basically saying we don't need devs for a community to live. You don't. You don't. Melee is the prime example of we don't have dev supported at all. We still made this live for us. Even if you have a community that has 20, 30, 40 people, you can still make it thrive. Again, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. Look, remember these numbers. Getting to season 4, people are happy about it. Like I said, Steam might not be 100% the best choice to use because I believe PlayStation probably has the bigger fan base. But still, the fact that on console it is doing good enough to where it's getting a season 4, that's a blessing. You can't be mad about that. Does Sonic Soul have points? He has points. You do need to bring in some newer players to keep a community thriving because eventually some of the older players will want to move on to new games. So you always want to have a flow of bringing out with the old and with the new. However, and he does have somewhat of a point about Discord fighters. However, I think he's missing the point of what Super was trying to say. She's not saying consumer-wise the games are failing. If we're being 100% honest, a lot of people ain't going to hear this either. Most fighting games are failing consumer-wise. Most fighting games aren't bringing in new players. Even Guilty Gear Strive, as good as it is, most people that's playing Guilty Gear Strive already played some form of fighting game at first. You have very limited people that are new to the FGC coming into the FGC. That's just a truth in the truth. That's just the truth. However, when new players become old players, veterans that want to stay, when all those casuals go on to play bigger and better things or whatever the fuck they want to play, your core fan base is what's going to keep it alive. Period. Them devs ain't going to keep it alive. The devs can pull the plug at any point in time in any game that they feel. And people have to accept that. However, them core fan bases, those thousands, those hundreds, even them tens, is going to keep that game living for other people when they eventually become, want to learn more, they want to try it out. Maybe they want to go into something that's dead, like a Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and go into Discord and fight people to learn, just to have fun with the game. Because at the end of the day, it's a game. It ain't a fucking career. It's not a livelihood. It's a game. And at the end of the day, if two people still playing that game, if two of us still playing that game is a lie to them people. But hey, it is what it is. You can agree, you can disagree, you can leave a like, you leave a dislike. It is what it is, but leave a sub. Thank you for the subs that came in. I meant to say that earlier, but thank you guys for coming in. We almost at 140, and it's been Nappy. I'm out. Peace.